What's up? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jess. My cat just jumped down from my desk, and if you have not seen my face before, go ahead and click that subscribe button below because it helps me out so much. And let's get into today's video. So today I am very excited because today I'm going to be talking about books. If you guys didn't know, I love books, like a lot. And I've been doing quite a bit of reading this year, which I'm really proud of myself for. It's definitely less than I had originally anticipated because going into the new year, I had been going so strong. I was reading like a book every 2 to 3 days. And I've slowed my roll a little bit because, having a full-time job and, attempting to have a social life in a panini press, kind of slows things down. But I've been doing pretty good about it. I've been listening to a ton of audiobooks, reading a ton of really great series and standalones. So I wanted to share some of those with you and also share with you my TBR, i.e. my to be read, because the list is lengthy and I think you might get some good inspiration of books from that. Without further ado, let's hop right into it. So to start off, I'm going to be starting with the books that I am currently reading, and when I say currently and books plural, I do mean multiple at a time, and yeah, I'm just one of those people. So anyway, the first book that I'm currently reading is Queen of Shadows and the Throne of Glass series. This is the fourth one. I am obsessed with this series. If you guys don't follow me on Instagram, I talk about this all the time. I literally just love this so much. If you guys have not read this, it is basically a fantasy story. I think it was based on Cinderella. I think the first one was like quote unquote based on Cinderella, but nothing at all to do with that now. Very good. The series is very lengthy. I have all of the books. This is the fourth one. They're currently on the top of my bookshelf, so you cannot see it, but I still have 3 more books to read. I read the prequel as well, but I've been reading this specific one. It's taking me a bit to get through. I've got like 200 pages left, so I really should just sit down and do it. But I don't have enough good things to say about this, and I gave this to one of my friends to read as a book suggestion. She finished the whole series in literally maybe less than a month, and these books are like, this is chunky. Highly recommend. Go check this out. It's just so good. Another book that I'm currently reading is actually not a YA fantasy. What? It is a self-help typey book. It's Atomic Habits by James Clear. I really, really like this book. I'm kind of taking my time with it. I was blowing through it at the beginning, but I've just decided to slow my roll a little bit on it because I just want to be able to take in all of the information that he's giving. It just makes habits sound easy. So basically the synopsis. When you're creating a new habit, it's basically just the neural pathways in your brain. You're not born having the habits that you have, you end up making them because you do the same thing over and over again. So this is just a really easy, kind of fun read. Well, I mean, it's fun for me. Fun read about how to kind of achieve the goals you want by doing small things every day. He talks about writing books and getting healthier and how we, in our minds, have these like big, gigantic plans, and sometimes those plans can be overwhelming. So when we set smaller goals or atomic habits, they end up making something in the end that you can be really, really proud of, which in a sense, duh, but this just writes it out really well. There's also a couple key quotes that I found in this that are just, I will take them with me for the rest of my life. And the last book I'm currently reading is actually on my phone. I use Scribd as an audiobook service. This is not sponsored, except if you want to. I love Scribd. They have a ton of audiobooks on there that you can listen to for like 10 bucks a month. So it's kind of like Audible, except you don't pay per audiobook. You can just listen to as many as you want, which is great for me because I can go ham on an audiobook. I listen to them in the shower, when I'm cleaning, in a car, just all the time. So the current audiobook that I am listening to, reading, is the 5th book in the Mortal Instruments series. I've actually read this before. I read, I think 1 to 5, but I never got to 6. So I'm trying to finish the series. It's one of my favorites. It's about shadow hunters, which are basically angel human mixes. I don't even know how to describe this series, but it's very urban fantasy and I am such a big fan of it. And Clary and Jason, their romance and just the whole situation. I really, really enjoy it. It's one of those books that came out in, maybe late middle school, early high school, and it's just a fan favorite. There's tons of shows. Highly recommend. Now to the books that I have read recently. The most recent book that I read, I actually finished yesterday. Again, it was an audiobook and I'm crazy and just do multiple books at a time. But the audiobook that I last listened to was An Enchantment of Ravens. I will put the little thing right here. I really enjoyed this one. It definitely gave me a Court of Thorns and Roses vibes in that there is a Fae man, there is a painter human. Fae man takes painter human away to Fae worlds and they go to a court, and then there's a big disruption, and then she doesn't want to be a Fae because she doesn't like them. So it's you know, something, you know, a lot of the stories have very similar themes because obviously the Fae mythology it's a thing. Like it's a mythology, so it exists and there's tons of stories about it, about Fae beings taking away humans. So very along the same lines. I do think the effect of the story or just how I read it was different because I did read A Court of Thorns and Roses, which is another favorite I'll talk about later, and I listened to An Enchantment of Ravens. So I think I preferred A Court of Thorns and Roses for multiple reasons, but also because I was able to like read it. But An Enchantment of Ravens is really great if you love the Fae mythology and you love A Court of Thorns and Roses. Highly recommend it because it's very similar and Rook is top notch. Another book I read recently is Tweet Cute by Emma Lord. Guys, I really liked this one a lot. If you guys don't know, I work as a social media manager for a company. This just is what I do for a job. Like, yes, they are in high school. It's about two warring social media managers that are fighting over a grilled cheese recipe, and it's just everything you want in a YA contemporary romance. Just very cute. But I basically do the job of the main character, which is just kind of funny. Like, obviously she's in high school and it's a side gig and I do it more, you know, full time. But I really liked everything about this. I will say that at the beginning it read very middle grade, very young, and so I was having a little bit of difficulty getting into that. I obviously, like, I don't read a lot of adult books, but this was definitely on the younger side of YA. I noticed that there was a lot of backstory at the beginning, which definitely helped leading up to the end, and you figure out why all of the relationships matter. However, getting into it was a little tough because of that, but by the end, I really loved it. I was reading it on my couch, just like smiling when they like found out the secret, the climax happened, and I'm like, oh my god. And the app idea that's in this book is just it's really interesting. If you read this and you hear about the app, talk to me about it, because like I want that to be a thing because I feel like that'd be really cool. Basically, you just talk to people and you don't know what they look like. I think we need it. I'm also just gonna include these in my recent reads. These are also from the Throne of Glass series. Again, highly big fan. I went through all 4 of these in maybe like a month and a half or so. I know people who've gotten through them way quicker, but I am just a huge fan of this whole story. And Sarah J Maas, I love her. I know she's controversial in a lot of things, and I know like she's super big on book talk, but they're good and I really like them. And if that's bad, I don't want to be right. The last book in my recently read is going to be Crave by Tracy Wolff. Very Twilight inspired, as you I'm sure can see from the cover right here. It was fun. I'm gonna say it was fun. I read it, well, I listened to it on Scribd as well. I just kind of put it on one night because I was cleaning my room and I wanted an audiobook to start. And so I ended up finishing it and I did enjoy it, but I definitely have no inclination to go and read the second one or listen to the second one that just recently came out. But it's definitely Twilight heavy, which I love the Twilight books. I think they're really fun. It was definitely one of the books that kind of got me into reading in like middle school. So like I can pay homage to that. But the book itself, while entertaining, was just kind of one, predictable, two, just the amount of times that the author wrote sexy AF, and I quote, she's like, oh wow, this boy is sexy AF. Like not the words, just AF. Just was one, overused, two, what? So I wasn't the hugest fan of it. Again, it was entertaining, so I got what I needed to out of the books, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it, but I put it on my read list, so. And now for my TBR, which is going to be far too large and make me sad because I just want to read all of the books now and I just can't do it fast enough. So the first book on my TBR is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. If you have been on Book Talk, if you have been on BookTube, you know what this is. It's very beautiful. This cover is just absolutely astounding. This is a story about a girl who basically, and again I haven't read it, sold her soul to the devil to live forever or something along those lines, but because she now lives forever, like she gave up her soul, she has never been seen by another human. Like nobody notices her in her life, so she's going through life not being noticed, but then guess what? A boy notices her, i.e. I just love this shit. So a boy notices her and there's trials and tribulations, and apparently it's wonderful and it's gonna change your life. So I'm gonna actually start this weekend. I'm flying up to Kentucky for a family event and I'm gonna be taking this with me, so I'm very excited about this. And the cover is just It's just stunning. I love gold foil. Another book on my TBR is A Court of Silver Flames by Sarah J. Maas. Again, the same author as The Throne of Glass, but this one is the 5th book in the Court of Thorns and Roses world universe. There's 3 books in total of like the core story, and then there's the smaller book, Court of Frost and Starlight, and then she recently came out with this, which is from the perspective of the main character in the last series' sister, Nessa. This is not Wicked. Her name is Nesta, not Nessa. So if you guys have read A Court of Thorns and Roses, you'll know it's just really good. I know it's overhyped. I know a lot of people don't like it. I quite enjoy it. So that's what matters. I'm very excited to read this one. It is definitely chunky, and they also recently came out with new covers, and I don't love them. I'm not the biggest fan, but to each his own. It's what is inside that matters. Literally. So I'm really excited to read this. There's also an audiobook of this on Scribd, so I might like start that and just try to like get a little bit into it. With books this big, I tend to lose interest if I'm not listening to them. Not my best character trait. However, I definitely want to start this because I just want to know what happens, because I love this world. And the last book on my, TBR, but just like TBR for the next few months, because obviously I have an entire bookshelf of books. I've read a good amount of them. I have not read most of them. Well, that's not true. There's a lot on here that I need to read, but this one in particular is one that I picked up a few months ago, started reading it and put it down just because I don't think I was in a good place to read. Like, I don't know why I stopped. But this is by one of my favorite authors, Shea Earnshaw. She wrote The Wicked Deep, which I am such a big fan of that book. I will read it again every Halloween. It's just so good. But this is Winterwood. Definitely like snowy, witchy forest vibes, which I'm obsessed with. And again, the gold foil, they really know how to sell it to me. That I will buy anything with gold foil. Apparently. So this is about a girl named Nora. She is a witch from a family of witches, and one day she walks into the forest on a full moon. This is the part that I read. On a full moon, and she finds a boy that had gone missing named Oliver, and I'm, assuming this is kind of their love story about how they get together and such. There's fairy tale aspects. It's just the vibes that I really enjoy year round. I feel like this would be a really great fall, winter read as well, but obviously it's spring now, and you know what? That's okay. I'm still gonna read it. So this is definitely high on my TBR as well as the other ones. I want to read everything at once, and I don't have time, and it just makes me sad, but I'm going to make sure that I'm making time to do the things that I enjoy. So that is all of the books for today's what has been being read in my life / will be being read / what I've enjoyed / didn't enjoy. I'm sorry, crazy. But I hope you guys enjoyed. I definitely want to do some more book content on this channel. I love books so much. So I love talking about them, and I love giving book recommendations to people. It's one of my favorite things when someone who I've given a book recommendation to says to me, wow, I really loved this. Like, I super enjoyed it. Again, one of my friends has been reading all of the Throne of Glass series. I also got her to read all of the Court of Thorns and Roses. She's been loving them, and so it just makes me feel happy. I used to be a bookseller at Barnes & Noble, so I just love spreading the stories. I love stories, so that's where we are. I don't know what that is, but it's very loud. So with that, thank you so much for watching this video. Again, if you guys are not already subscribed, go hit that subscribe button below. If you have any other video suggestions for me, please let me know. I hope you cannot hear this thing in the background. Some machine just started. I don't know. This apartment complex is so loud. Okay, I think it stopped. And with that, I will end the video. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye.